Hi, this is Sophia with Primitive Pursuits. Today I am in my lawn again, and there are tons of violets out. So I thought that I would pick some violets and then do some things in the kitchen with them and share it with you. As with anything, it is extremely important to properly identify the plant that you are about to harvest. There are around 550 different species in the viola genus, of which violets are a member to. Some experts say that only blue and white violets are edible. There is a disagreement in this. If you are interested in eating and consuming violets in any way, I would do further research to see how comfortable you are eating the different violet species. Only the leaves and the flowers should be eaten of violets, as many violet species roots cause vomiting or nausea. So I'm just going to continue picking some violets. It does take a while. I'm going to be making violet vinegar with you, and then violet sugar. So I'm going to need at least a mason jar full. We'll see how long it takes me. With all of the violets that I picked, I was able to make this violet vinegar, violet infused honey, and this violet sugar. To make the violet vinegar, I use a white wine vinegar or a champagne vinegar. You want to use a light vinegar that doesn't have a lot of flavor on its own. So I wouldn't use apple cider vinegar or red wine vinegar. You also want to be able to see that the color that the violet imparts into the vinegar. As you can see, it gives it a really bright purple color that's really vibrant. So to make it, I filled the mason jar up about halfway with fresh violets, and then I macerated or mashed down on the violets a little bit. That helps release the color into the vinegar. And then all I did was cover the violets with vinegar, and I left it in a cabinet in the dark for about a week or two, and I shook it every time I walked by or I remembered. And I'm going to strain it later today, and then I'm going to enjoy it on my salads and salad dressings, in baked goods, and anything that calls for vinegar. I also might mix it in with a little of the violet honey that I'm going to show you next to make a little elixir when I am feeling sick. Then I infused some fresh violets into raw honey. All I did was put the violets into some honey. I was using raw honey, which I suggested for using it for medicinal purposes. And since the honey was a little crystallized, I heated it up with a yogurt maker. So I just had it in the jar, the violets and the honey in a jar. And then I put it in my yogurt maker. And that just kept it at a very low temperature and got the honey a little warm, enough so that I can mix the violets in. And then I took it off and I left it in a cool, dark area in my kitchen. And I shook it a little bit. After a week or two, I'm going to strain it out, and then I'm going to have a shelf-stable honey that's going to be very beneficial when I have a dry cough or any type of dry respiratory issues. The final thing that I've done with violets here is to actually mix it in with sugar to make a purple sugar that I can use in baked goods for decorations. So I actually did two different processes here. One, I food processed fresh violets with sugar, and then that created a very wet sugar that was a little gray, purple gray. I used that on the dandelion muffins. I also dehydrated or dried violets, and then I food processed that with sugar as well, and that created a little lighter of a color. It was too light of a color, so I ended up mixing the two together. And that has produced this really cool multicolor purple sugar that's very wet still. If you make a sugar that's wet like this, I would keep it in your fridge. I might dehydrate it in my dehydrator, and then I'll have a shelf-stable product. So these are all the things that I've done with violets in the last couple days. I hope you all enjoy. I hope you experiment and have fun.